Been talking to Dom at Mason about his mountain bike for years, and the good news is definitely been worth the wait. So this thing is a beauty. My name's Guy Kesteven. I've been a professional bike and kit tester for nearly 25 years, and this is the Mason Raw steel hardtail launch in the fabulous Lake District. And from how much water I've wrung out of the mic covers and wiped off the lens so far, it's probably going to be more of a blog than a vlog, but you know, I've been squinting to see if you can make any sense out of it. But yeah, very much initial impressions on this bike ahead of the embargo release and ahead of Dom actually giving me a ton of detail about it. So we'll just have to see if my thoughts line up with his. So I was actually slightly concerned chatting to Dom initially. He said he'd been riding a lot of the modern hardtails. I just didn't see how they were rideable. They were too slack. And Mason has always been a fast far company, and he wanted his mountain bike to reflect that. I was slightly concerned it's going to be some weird 90s throwback. Beautifully made, obviously, but kind of angles near the 70s on the head. But no, good news is 66 front, perfectly respectable, and that's sagged as well, so it's actually going to be slacker than that static. And then seat angle around 76 degrees, and then 761 sagged reach on this large, so probably equates to about probably about 775, because reach actually extends as the bike gets steeper. And obviously, being a steel frame, you might expect some kind of weight penalty to carbon or alloy. So first thing I did, slung the bike on the scales, 12.99 for a large, and that's with 2.6 Vittorias, Hunt Trail wides, alloy bar, I think it's an alloy bar, and a decent trail kit. I mean, okay, you've got a Sid Ultimate on there, so that's a light fork, but that's a respectable weight for alloy or carbon, certainly. And perhaps most importantly, feels really sprightly and lively too. Not remotely soggy, as can happen with a lot of steel hardtails these days. And as well as feeling really precise and nimble under power, you've also got a reasonably steep seat angle. Ah, damn it. So the poise is good, even if the lines aren't. And for a big tyre, these Vittorias roll really well. I was a bit concerned about them for wet grip on the sides, but a flattering feel on the hardtail. These on wide rims, 18 front, 23 psi rear, feel great, and so far hooking up pretty well. Although scorpioned a tree stump last Thursday, so can't put as much wind into my lungs as I'd ideally like, or pull back on the bars as much, so it's a good sign that still getting up stuff. And to be fair, these Lake District trails above Windermere, that's far away from conditions in the South Downs where Dom, the designer for Mason and owner, does most of his riding. You know, so far, very good. Definitely feels like a bike I could spend a lot of time riding and enjoying. And I'll do a tech check later, static, but keeping all those tubes, frame checks open really gives you full bike packing bag capacity. There's 4 different bottle case bosses on the upside, the down tube, 3 on the underside, and basically loaded with cargo fixtures if you need to use them. Because it is a bike designed for big rides, just on slightly tougher terrain. And as we're climbing up here, you can see, obviously got the frame bag capacity there on Josh's bike for the full Explorer missions. Josh Mason's legendary epic racer and rider. Yeah, mate.
Sponsored idiot.
But he was the guy who provided a lot of the impetus for the development of this bike for events like Great Divide Race, West Island 500, you know, something a bit more capable off-road than the ISO. It's kind of your previous wish list product.
Well, the ISO was a kind of long distance tourer for kind of off-road riding, maybe the Great Divide, that kind of thing. But it's
oh yeah, sorry, you were saying you wanted rounded drop bars, the Great Divide.
More hand positions. You know, there's a lot of road and flat on the Tour Divide, so it made sense to me to be in a drop position. And also general touring.
Yeah.
Like a good old-fashioned touring bike.
Yeah.
But then this is the next level from that. Again, it's the same principle. You can load it up, ride off-road, and take on the more technical trails, such as, you know, the Harding Trail, things like that.
Yeah.
Or the Lake District, if you want.
Yeah. Or just unbag it and have a laugh.
Oh, or that, yeah. I won't tell you that I've just got a bubble wrap on my frame.
Oh God, of course. Shh. Nobody needs to know. Bubble wrap and a Holiday Inn VIP pass.
Exactly.
Dom obviously has a long history with working in steel, in particular steels from Italy. There's a big departure on this bike because of COVID and because the opportunity arose and various chats they had. It started several years ago. This bike is now made by Fiveland up in Scotland. You'll have heard the name when I've talked about the front end on some of the Cottic bikes. But this whole frame is made for Mason and painted up in Scotland, which obviously has a bit of cost. The detailing is absolutely immaculate. So we'll have a good close-up look at that later. And the tube set is kind of a mix of that experience, previously used sets, like the rear stays, tapered, swaged, curved, their own unique dropout and disc brake setup. They come off the ISO, and then the down tube is pretty much the same, just slightly different fixtures. Alright, cheers mate. That's right, stopping. Oh, thanks a lot mate. There's a few more later, but I'm just rolling on ahead. And now bending it, and then there's a new Reynolds seat tube. Again, that's bent specifically for Mason's needs, just so they can get tons of mud clearance in there without making the back end too long. And it's bridgeless as well, so there's nothing getting in the way of those chainstays. Just that signature kind of curved A-frame top. Better stop actually, I'm getting carried away, should wait for the others. And I'm hoping that tube profiling, all the overlising and other features that Mason have added means it's going to keep a firm enough hold on the foot as we go down here. I'm guessing we'll soon find out, although unfortunately I've just got a rock shot fender on here, not the crud catcher, because the bolts are rounded out, so I couldn't fit the crud guard, so give it a wipe, but I don't think visibility is going to be that great. So kind of have to see how this trail feels on braille. But yeah, certainly doesn't feel skittish so far. Still got a good grip on things. Yeah, straight lining blocks, no problem. And actually, nice capacity for impact through the rear. Yeah, look at that. Just about holding those side knobs there, coming through that turn. Following the locals. So I'm guessing they're not going to leave me into a dune section. But if they do, I guess that's where the proper testing happens. Yeah. Feeling nice. Nice balance, control, and playfulness. Thanks very much, cheers. So more rocky random wetness, but I'm really getting into the way this front end holds the line now. And one thing that definitely works super well on this bike, which isn't a surprise, is the SID Ultimate Fork 120mm. A perfect length for this bike and pretty much the perfect feel as well. Light but really controlled. Another nice componentry choice on it. The latest Hunt Trail Wides, just a really good, balanced, lively feeling wheel. So together with these Vittoria tyres, it's all going swimmingly. Oh, that wasn't intended as a pun, but ended up being definitely a wet one there. And while the weather hasn't exactly been the best for showing it, there's just a real kind of brightness and lightness to this bike, which is what steel is kind of famed for, but which often gets lost in really slack geometry or kind of enduro kit choices, or just the steel not being very lively. And Reynolds 725 is often a classic case of that, but just ever since steel bikes had to undergo a lot of safety standards through CN, a lot of kind of sprightliness and life got just squeezed out of them that way, because it had to be a lot stronger, which is obviously a good thing, but it does make it much harder to keep that dynamic spring and feel in there. But this Raw, it's got that in spades. Although, like I say, tyre and fork and wheel package definitely helping that. But it's only SLX in terms of kit, so it's pretty much same as what I'm running on my Cossack Flare Max. How do? So it's not super exotic, it's just right stuff in the right places. And Mason will be doing this bike as complete builds as well as frame set only, and it'll come in 3 colours. This light grey, I've forgotten the name of, and a kind of mustardy yellow, and a bright, almost sort of French racing blue. Hey, even the sun's coming out now. Happy days. Right, let the others go, so hopefully a bit less spray, but we're basically riding down a river in the rain because hashtag Lake District. But yeah, so even if it turns out to be more of a vlog than a vlog, oh, it's feeling nice. Yeah, no, got my heels dropped, she's rolling. And after recent hardtail experience, good, steel hardtails anyway, I'm delighted to say it's got a proper BB drop, so 60 mil, so nice and planted through the feet. Doesn't feel like you're going to be instantly spouted out the front at any moment. Let's try again. Because the bike's riding beautifully, but because I can't use my fender, pretty much pointless trying to shoot in these conditions just because it's so wet. But if you imagine this is pretty rocky, toothy, Lake District classic trail, and this is handling it surprisingly well. I mean, really well. Yeah, it's a big old tyre on the back, running pretty low pressures, but it's giving me those short travel suspension vibes in terms of what it's letting me carry speed on. Very impressed so far. I mean, I haven't had a chance to stick it into, cheers mate, to stick it into any sections that'll really let me, thanks a lot, pole vault the front wheel off a rock, or really get it stuck in terms of turning traction, but it doesn't feel like it's gonna massively misbehave. In fact, definitely up there with the most sorted steel frame sets I've ridden, so job very well done so far. I mean, nice precision through there, bit of drift but no drama, and then stable enough and long enough for straight line stuff, even when the stability isn't there in terms of the surface and the grip. So that's the live ride review done. Lord knows how much of that is going to be audible or even visible, because the conditions were far from ideal, to be honest. But if you've been able to hear anything or see anything, you'll have got the gist that I'm really impressed with this bike. It's a really nice blend of agility, lightweight liveliness, kind of a sprightly power kick, but without being too twangy or too wayward when you do start kind of, well, getting into more techy, more challenging stuff. And yeah, the kit works really well as well. So I'll be doing a tech talk round video right now to go through the details up close, give you more of a sort of view of the craftsmanship and the design details of the bike. So make sure you watch that. But for now, massive thanks to Mason for inviting me up here to the lakes to try the bike ahead of the embargo launch in November, which is when this video will get aired. And massive thanks to Zero Cycling UK for sponsoring the channel. Thanks to PEs, thanks to DMR, thanks to Crud. I really wish I could have used the fender today, but that little Sid fender is stuck on there, can't get it off, so that's why you've had even more camera splash than normal, which is a shame. But if you want to keep your face clean, you know, do take a look at Crud XL fenders. So easy to fit and so effective. But for now, massive thanks to my Patreon supporters as well for sponsoring the channel on a monthly basis, and they get exclusive, extended, behind the scenes and ad-free edits as a thank you. And whether you want to join, if you like what I'm doing with the channel, please consider subscribing on Patreon and getting those benefits for yourself. And also it helps the channel grow, helps me commit this kind of time to trips like these. But even if you don't want to subscribe on Patreon, please click for notifications, click subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, because that really helps the algorithms and helps the channel grow, and just tell your mates about it. I mean, hopefully you enjoy my riding videos. If you don't, let me know what I can do to improve them, bar the weather, not much I can do about that. But yeah, let's make this work for everybody. But for now, I've been Guy Kesteven on Guy Kest TV, talking about the brand new Mason Raw all-round steel trail hardtail.